This is On the Tee with H&B, coming to you from the Lahinch Golf Club, host of the 2019 Irish Open. Join us as we head inside for a conversation with General Manager Paddy Keane for a preview of this week's tournament and what some of the world's best can look forward to as they arrive to this historic links. We hope you enjoy the listen. Well, Paddy Keane, thanks for welcoming us to Lahinch today.
Yeah, you're more than welcome.
Well, thanks for dialing up these blue skies if you had anything to do with that.
I had nothing to do with it. As you saw probably yesterday, it wasn't the nicest of days, but a beautiful evening, which kind of happens here a lot. You can have a really wet, windy day, as a lot of your clients and customers would have known over the years. And then later on in the evening, you can turn around and have one of the most amazing sunsets, which I think you experienced last night yourself.
It was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
The sun came out, and I ran out here and got out to the Dell and the Klondike and took some pictures, and
Good.
It was phenomenal. This is usually where I would ask you to talk about the history and so forth, but we're going to get to that in a minute because I'm going to dive right into the story of the day, and that is the Irish Open. This will be aired during Irish Open week. Grandstand's going up over there off camera. Does it feel real yet?
It does now, because the build really has started in earnest over the last 2 weeks, and after the bank holiday weekend here in Ireland, it's really going to ramp up from next Tuesday onwards. We now know what's happening. It's been a lot of work in the last 12 months. It's 12 months since it was announced that Lahinch will be hosting it with Paul McGinley as the host for the tournament. So it has a lot of work has gone on, and really, the planning preparation is really important, and that to lead to where we are today, where the build starts happening. So it is happening 4 weeks time. And what's great for a lot of your clients across North America is the Golf Channel, who normally take the streaming live, are actually on site. They'll have a studio, they have reporters, they have on-course reporters, and that. So there's a big team from the Golf Channel coming. So when your clients across North America are enjoying Independence Weekend, they can just turn on the television and watch live footage from Lahinch Golf Club right throughout the day.
We'll all be getting up early and tuning in, no doubt about it. What does the tournament mean to the club, to the membership, to the local area?
When the approach came to us January 12 months ago, and it came through Paul McGinley, Paul had agreed to host it this year, and he was looking at suitable venues, and Paul had visited Lahinch in 2017 when we're celebrating 125 years of golf, and he was blown away with the changes that were made to the golf course. Changes that were made with Martin Hawtrey around the millennium, but also what we've done over the last number of years with grass pathways and just subtle changes we've made. And what he's also blown away with is the culture and the love of golf, really within the membership, but also up in the village and that. So this is one of his choices to see would we host it. And from a club's perspective, we are steeped in the heritage and tradition of golf in Ireland, primarily amateur golf. The South of Ireland has been hosted here, first played in 1895, Ireland's oldest championship. We've hosted the home internationals, which are coming again this September, and the South of Ireland is 2 weeks after the Open, and we've the Arnold Palmer Cup taking place next year. So that gives you the kind of indication of how much we embrace amateur golf. But he kind of saw what we're doing here, and he said, would we be interested? And from the club's perspective, it is a very busy club. It's very busy. We've over 2,500 members, and we have a lot of visitors from across the world who want to play here. So to get the dynamic and the balance between visitors and membership playing rounds is quite tricky. Something we've been successful enough doing, but we kind of said we're busy, we don't need to be any busier. In actual fact, if we could reduce the number of rounds on the course, we would try and do that. But we looked at it for the whole region, for County Clare, for the west coast of Ireland. The tournament of this size, the sporting event of this size, has never been held in County Clare or along the west coast. So it was an opportunity with the Open Championship taking place in Portrush for us to showcase what we have to offer in the southwest region of Ireland, and also what we have to offer outside of golf, not just necessarily the tournament, but food, activity, the spectacular cliffs of Moher, the Burren, Loop Head and all of that. And it was to embrace the whole county. We were very fortunate that the local authority, Clare County Council, the Gardaí, Fáilte Ireland and all the agencies embraced that and see this as a wonderful opportunity to showcase County Clare right across the world. And that was really the main reason, and the members bought into it as well. They said, look, yes, it does impact on their golf this year, because obviously there's restrictions on playing off fairway mats, and the course is going to close 2 weeks before the tournament and that. But it's lifetime memories, and they said, look, let's do this for the region, let's do it for ourselves, and let's enjoy the week. So that's really where it has happened, and what has happened in the last 12 months. It's not just a golf tournament, there's a lot more happening. We have a festival happening in the village, which is just behind the second green, as you know yourself. So it's not just about the golf, it's about everything else. And if any of your clients are in Ireland that week, they really should come down here for what's going to be a truly magical event. The only thing we cannot guarantee is the weather. So long as we have nice dry weather with a bit of a breeze to challenge the golfers, that'll be amazing. So there's a lot of plans being finalised, and they'll be released in the next 10 days to the media in relation to what's happening, not just at the golf tournament, but what's happening in the whole county.
Well, it's no doubt going to be an exciting week, and lifetime memories, as you said, no doubt. You touched earlier on the changes to the course, Dr. Hawtree and so forth. Go back a little further. Share a little bit of the heritage of the links here, and the evolution of it, if you will.
Yeah, it was founded in 1892. It was founded by members of the Black Watch Regiment, the Scottish Regiment, who were based in Limerick, and obviously being from Scotland, they would have known a lot about links golf and that, and they formed Limerick Golf Club, but because it's a parkland, it wouldn't be open most of the winter time. And they came out this part of West Clare, and they saw this site. They saw one or two locations, but with the train station in the village and that, they decided to map out a golf course here, which they did in 1892. Old Tom Morris came in 1894, and he made certain changes in that, and this is where the Klondike and the Dell came really into play. And it really remained that way until Mo Gibson from Western Hoe came in 1916, and he opened up some holes close on the coast side. And then in 1926, the course was both sides of the road here. Alistair Mackenzie was commissioned to come and look and see could he bring the whole 18 holes on the sandhill side of the road, as they call it, and that's when the current layout really commenced. He did that in 1926. 27 the work was done by the grounds men here, and then over decades the members changed certain things, like there was a par 3 just behind us there, there's no more, it was the third hole, and it kind of lost a bit of its character to a certain extent, and a bit of the Mackenzie character. So around the late 1990s, the members said, look, we need to look at this, we need to get back into the Mackenzie characteristics of the course, what his vision was for it. And they went and they talked to a number of architects, and Martin Hawtree was commissioned to bring back a restored Mackenzie course, and that work happened in 1999, finished in 2002, and it is what you have here today. So the likes of certain holes like the Klondike and Dell were not touched. The third hole, which was a par 3, was closed, and then the new 8 was opened, and the 11th. We do have the original 11th, which is 11A, which we play in the winter time, which is still Mackenzie's design. So he did all that, and he looked at the bunkering and that, and that's the evolution of the golf course. Since then, in the last number of years, we've made subtle changes to the course, subtle changes in the sense that if you played golf here this year and you came back next year, you wouldn't notice. Like if you take the second fairway, we've dropped it 4 or 5 meters from a safety perspective, but you wouldn't notice that it's been dropped at all. Same with the 15th and that. One of the probably biggest changes we made over the last number of years is we just introduced grass pathways everywhere. So once you leave the first tee, you're walking on grass until you get to the 18th, and that actually makes a massive difference. When you're walking off the 18, you're not as tired, but it's just the ambience, the aesthetics of the course, the look across when you're looking at all the pathways weaving through the Marham Rough and the sand dunes. It really looks amazing. So every year we reinvest in the golf course, and we look to see how can we make it better, how can we make the experience better for our members and our visitors, and this year has been no different, and next year will be no different again.
For the the links as well as anyone, of course, and for the first time or even multi-time visitor from H&B headed your way, what are the highlights that stand out in your mind? You mentioned the Dell and the Klondike and so forth. What are the moments they need to be looking out for?
Well, I think The Klondike is the 4th hole, par 5. You play down a 5 metre wide fairway. Your second shot is over a hill. You don't know, you can't see the green, and the green is just located in front of the road. So you have to trust the yardage the caddy gives you and hope that the white stone on the hill gives you the line. The Dell is probably one of the most famous it is one of the most famous par 3s in the world. You can't see the green. The green is hidden in between 2 dunes, and there's a white rock on the hill that will tell you where the pin position is. It's probably easier because you don't see the green, because you're given the yardage and you just hit the yardage, but it's a fantastic golf hole. I think what really strikes a lot of visitors who come for the first time is when they tee off on the next hole, which is the 6th, we call Paradise. You tee up on the hill, and when you get to the top of the hill, and suddenly, wow, and that's the word you hear the whole time. The Atlantic Ocean just suddenly appears, and the green is just positioned in front of it. It is a spectacular view. It's iconic, used in a lot of advertisements for the golf course, and I think it really is stunning. You then go along the course, and then you turn back in the drivable par 4 13th. You have the Mine 14, you have Index 1 15. What it's really known for is really challenging par 4 holes, and you'll really get them from 13, 14, 15 right into the 18th. So every hole is different. It's not a traditional links in the context that it's 9 holes out and 9 holes back. All the holes are orientated north to south, south to north, east, west, etc. So it doesn't matter what way the wind is blowing, it'll be with you on some holes and against you on others. So it's really cleverly laid out that way. So every hole has its own characteristics, but I definitely think 4, 5 and 6, because you have history of the Old Tom Morris and you have this magnificent view. Personally, I think 13, 14, 15, that little loop is where a lot of competitions and matches are won and lost, because it's drivable par 4, difficult par 4 on the Mine 14th afterwards, and Index 1 15th. I think they're really clever 3 holes, one after the other.
So no conversation about Lahinch would be complete if we didn't talk about the goats. There on your lapel, the famous logo and the famous goats. For those who are unfamiliar, tell the story of the goats, and they're nowhere to be seen today.
They're out there.
There's a reason for that.
No, well, they are out there. You can't see them from here, you're right. I think when the golf club was founded in 1892, local people used to put donkeys, cattle, sheep, goats, used to graze on the golf course. And if you go up into one of the I think it's the Atlantic Hotel, and probably a few of the pubs up there have a poster framed which is a bylaw banning donkeys from the golf course in the early 1900s. But it was a caddy, Tommy Walsh, who lived behind the third tee box in the village in the 20s and 30s, and he had goats. He used to let them out in the daytime, and he would bring them back in at night time into their stables and that. And that just happened. No one, it didn't cause anyone any harm in that. And when he passed away, the goats were left out on the golf course and remained out. And what really used to happen is, and still happens today, I know people think it's a old wives' tale, it's not. When the goats are out on the course, which they are today, you can't see it from here, you're going to have beautiful sunshine, which is just blinding me here at the moment. You're going to have lovely weather, and therefore you can judge what's going to happen weather-wise. If they were around the clubhouse or hiding around the clubhouse, beware, because there was probably a rain or a storm coming in. And it still holds today. In the 1960s, we had a barometer in the clubhouse, and it broke. And the famous secretary manager at the time, Bud Slattery, rather than getting it repaired, just opened it up and wrote "Sea Goats." So there is archive footage from the national broadcaster RTE. If people look it up, they'll see footage of 1971 when they visited, and then again a few years ago. So the goats have been here. They're our emblem. We have 4 at present out there, and you probably saw on your way in, to celebrate our 125 years of golf at Lahinch, we commissioned a bronze statuette of the rampant goat, which sits outside the club and is a great selfie moment for all our visitors coming.
Well, we'll hope that come Irish Open time, the goats will be nowhere near the clubhouse.
Well, they won't be anywhere near the golf course anyway. To save them the stress of it, they'll probably go on vacation for a week.
Well, the last question is probably an obvious one, and I'm going to put you completely on the spot. Come Sunday evening, who do you think hoists the Irish Open trophy?
The field hasn't been finalised, so hopefully there's one or two surprises to come. It is a very strong field, and it's a strong field because of the work of Paul McGinley, the host, and the esteem he's held amongst his peers really reflects the quality of the field that is playing. It depends on the weather. Excuse me, I was asked the same question before the Open Championship last year, and I predicted the winner, because a big hitter was never going to win at Carnoustie. Someone who's straight, because of the dry fairways and that, the ball was going to run for him. Someone who's straight and consistent was always going to win that tournament. Here it's about driving. This is a tee shot course. If you put the ball in play and from your tee, you have a chance of winning. So you could be in for a surprise. It could be anyone, but I think Poulter will have a good chance.
No matter who comes out on top, it's going to be an unforgettable week.
We're really looking forward to it, and thank you so much to you and all your colleagues for everything you've done and for Lahinch Golf Club over the years, and we look forward to welcoming your clients back to Lahinch going forward.
Our pleasure.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Thank you. Not at all. Thank you.
Cheers. And a special thanks once again to Paddy Keane for joining us today, and we wish all of our friends at Lahinch an unforgettable week ahead. If you'd like to keep up with both the club and the tournament, as usual, we suggest giving them a follow on their social media channels. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you as always for tuning in. We'll have another one here for you soon, but until then, we wish you plenty of golf at its finest and life at its best.